When we think about cheating, the first image that usually comes to mind is the unfaithful man, right? But what if I told you that women cheat too, and their reasons are far more controversial and complex than you might think? Here's a surprising fact. According to recent studies, 15% of women in long-term relationships admit to having cheated at least once. And before you assume it's just revenge or because they fell out of love, here's the truth. The reasons run much deeper, and they might shock you. Some women cheat because they feel invisible. Others do it to get back at their partner for something that still hurts. And then there are those who simply get tired of the routine and start craving something new, a forbidden spark that makes them feel alive again. And here's what's even more interesting. Female infidelity doesn't usually start in the bedroom. It starts in the mind and the heart. In this video, we're going to uncover the 3 main reasons why women cheat. And I promise, what you'll learn here might challenge everything you thought you knew about infidelity. Why do they cheat? What are the signs? And most importantly, what does this reveal about the relationship itself? If you're ready for an honest, eye-opening conversation, stick with me until the end. Let's start with the most common reason of all: emotional neglect and lack of attention. Here's something you need to understand about human nature. Everyone needs to feel loved, seen, and valued. This applies to both men and women. But when a woman starts to feel invisible in her own relationship, when her partner stops listening, noticing, or appreciating what she does, it creates an emotional void. And if that void isn't filled, she may end up looking for what's missing outside the relationship. Unlike men, whose cheating often stems from opportunity or external validation, women typically cheat as an emotional response. They're not necessarily looking for someone better, they're looking for someone who sees them. It's the person who asks, "How was your day?" notices her new haircut, or realizes she's sad even when she says she's fine. This kind of attention, when it disappears from a relationship, creates a loneliness that builds over time. At first, it's small things. He stops noticing her efforts. Their conversations become shallow and repetitive. Emotional connection fades, and she begins to feel alone, even when they're together. Eventually, that emotional void becomes so overwhelming that if someone comes along and offers what's missing, attention, affection, words of affirmation, she might give in. So how can you tell if emotional neglect is becoming a problem in your relationship? Watch for these signs. She emotionally distances herself, stops sharing the details of her day with you. Conversations that used to be natural now feel forced or don't happen at all. Then she starts seeking attention outside the relationship. It starts as something subtle, with compliments or messages from others. She invests more in her appearance, but not necessarily for you. Her behavior becomes more private or secretive. She used to leave her phone lying around, but now she's more careful. Then she starts to create me time where you're not included. Phrases like, "You don't even notice me anymore," or "It's like you don't care," aren't just complaints, they're disguised cries for help. Let me share a story that's more common than you'd think. A woman had been married for 8 years. She juggled her career, kids, and household duties. Her husband, busy with his own job, started giving her less and less attention. He'd come home, eat dinner in silence, and spend the rest of the evening on his phone or watching TV. She felt invisible. Then one day, a coworker complimented her. At first, it was something simple, like, "Great job on that presentation." Over time, he noticed things her husband didn't. "Is that a new haircut? It looks amazing." She wasn't in love with her coworker, but his attention made her feel seen again. It started with innocent conversations and eventually turned into something more. Here's the hard truth. Emotional neglect doesn't happen overnight. It's the small cracks that, over time, create a space for someone else to slip in. If you feel like something's off, here's how to spot whether emotional neglect might be the issue. Watch how she reacts to compliments or attention from others. Does she light up when someone notices her? Pay attention to your emotional connection. When was the last time you had a meaningful conversation? Notice changes in her routine. Is she going out more or spending more time on activities that don't involve you? Emotional neglect isn't something to brush off. Feeling invisible in your own relationship can be more painful than being alone, and sometimes cheating isn't a conscious choice. It's the silent response of someone desperate to feel seen, valued, and loved again. When attention disappears, it creates space for someone willing to fill the void. Now let's dive into one of the most controversial reasons: cheating as revenge or retaliation. Yes, some women cheat because they feel cheated on, whether it's physically or emotionally, and decide to get even. It's as if they're saying, "If you can do it, so can I." But here's the catch. The betrayal that sparks this type of response isn't always physical. Sometimes it's more subtle. A partner who lies repeatedly, someone who flirts with others, or even behaviors that make a woman feel disrespected, undervalued, or humiliated. When this happens, cheating can feel like a way to restore balance, a form of retaliation to make things even again. Here's what psychology tells us. Humans have an innate need for justice, or at the very least, balance. When a woman feels betrayed, lied to, or emotionally neglected, it's like her partner has broken an unspoken contract. Suddenly, the relationship feels unbalanced. She's given her all, and in return has been met with pain, disrespect, or abandonment. For some women, cheating becomes less about the other man and more about her. It's a way to compensate for the pain she felt, a chance to prove to herself that she still has worth, that she's still desirable, and perhaps most importantly, it's a way to regain power in a situation where she feels powerless. Controversial? Yes, but many women describe cheating in these situations as a momentary sense of freedom and justice, as if they've reclaimed something that was taken from them. So how do you know if revenge or retaliation might be a factor in your relationship? Here are the most common signs. She starts acting more independent, almost as if your opinion or presence doesn't matter anymore. Emotional coldness or indifference becomes noticeable, as though she's turned off the connection between you. She brings up past arguments or betrayals repeatedly, even things you thought were resolved. Phrases like "now you know how I felt" or "you did it first" may slip into conversations. She invests in her appearance, social life, or hobbies in ways she didn't before. This newfound independence could be her way of proving she doesn't need you. An ex-boyfriend, co-worker, or someone who's always been around suddenly becomes a key figure in her life. These people often act as emotional escapes from the pain or frustration she feels in the relationship. These are the most common behaviors. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot and makes sure you don't miss our next videos. Let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. A woman discovered her husband had been exchanging intimate messages with a co-worker. He swore it was nothing, but to her, the trust was already shattered. She felt humiliated and betrayed. Weeks later, while out with friends, she ran into an old boyfriend. He complimented her, made her laugh, and for the first time in months, she felt seen. She knew she was crossing a line, but part of her thought, he did it first. Why shouldn't I? At first, the attention felt like justice, but in the end, it only deepened the pain. The trust in their marriage was beyond repair, and the cycle of hurt continued. If you suspect lingering resentment may be fueling her behavior, here are a few things to pay attention to. Does she keep bringing up mistakes you've made, even ones from years ago? She starts prioritizing herself, her appearance, or her social life in ways that exclude you. Is she suddenly closer to someone she's known for a long time? Cheating as revenge might feel justified in the moment, but it rarely brings peace. Instead, it deepens the wounds on both sides. When a woman cheats for revenge, she isn't just hurting her partner, she's trying to heal a pain that only she can fix. Now imagine this. You wake up at the same time every day, make the same cup of coffee, have the same conversations with your partner, and live the same routine over and over again. Life feels like it's stuck on autopilot, and you start wondering, is this it? Is there nothing more to life? For some women, this monotony becomes unbearable. When the relationship falls into a routine trap, the search for excitement and novelty can feel almost unavoidable. Here's the truth. This kind of cheating isn't about revenge or neglect. It's about rediscovering a sense of thrill and passion that feels lost. Routine can be comforting, but when it starts to feel like a prison, it becomes dangerous. The human brain naturally craves stimulation and excitement. Over time, monotony reduces the brain's dopamine levels, the chemical responsible for pleasure and reward. For some women, cheating isn't about finding a better man, it's about finding a feeling. The butterflies from receiving an unexpected text, the excitement of a new connection, the thrill of doing something that feels forbidden. Sometimes the affair isn't even about the other person, it's about rediscovering themselves. Cheating becomes a way to feel alive again, even if only temporarily. If the search for excitement and novelty is pulling her away, here are some clues to look for. She acts more independent, new hobbies, new friends, or activities that don't include you. A sudden focus on her appearance. She starts dressing differently, hitting the gym, or changing her hairstyle. She seeks out new adventures, solo trips, frequent nights out, or spontaneous plans with people you don't know well. An emotional disconnect, conversations feel shallow, and she seems mentally checked out. This reminds me of a story about a woman who had been married for 10 years. The relationship was solid, stable, even, but as the years went by, everything became predictable. Date nights turned into TV nights. Passion turned into polite kisses before bed. She loved her husband, but deep down, she felt like life was passing her by. One day she signed up for a yoga class as a way to do something for herself. That's where she met her instructor, a charming, attentive man who seemed to notice every small improvement she made. He'd say things like, "Your posture is perfect today," or "I can see how dedicated you are." At first it was innocent, but soon she realized she was looking forward to those classes a little too much. The compliments, the attention, it all made her feel alive again. Before she knew it, their conversations extended beyond the studio. The connection grew, and she found herself swept up in the thrill of it all. Here's the takeaway. When life becomes a series of repetitive days, even the smallest spark of novelty can feel irresistible. For some women, cheating isn't about falling out of love. It's about rediscovering a part of themselves they thought was lost. The search for excitement and novelty doesn't mean she doesn't care about her partner. In most cases, it's about finding herself, rediscovering the thrill and passion that life's routines have buried over time. But here's the truth. The thrill of the forbidden rarely leads to lasting happiness. When life feels too predictable, even temporary excitement can feel like freedom, but it often comes at a cost. When men start noticing small, subtle changes in their partner's behavior, instinct takes over and the detective mode gets activated. Their responses might not always be rational, but they're almost always driven by a mix of insecurity, curiosity, and fear of the unknown. Here are the most common behaviors men display when they suspect cheating. Snooping on phones and social media. This is the go-to move for many men. They start watching who she's texting or checking notifications when she's not looking. Changes like deleted messages, new passwords, or increased time on her phone immediately trigger their suspicions. It might not be the healthiest way to find answers, but it's instinctive, asking indirect questions. Rather than confronting her directly, they start fishing for information. Casual questions like, "You've been spending a lot of time with that new coworker, huh?" Or, "Who were you texting so late last night?" Seem harmless, but are really attempts to uncover the truth. Men look for inconsistencies, small cracks in the story that might confirm their fears. Interestingly, when men suspect infidelity, many respond by showing more affection. They might suddenly start complimenting her, planning date nights, or expressing interest in activities she enjoys. It's a subconscious attempt to win her back before it's too late. If the suspicion grows, men often start paying closer attention to details. What time she comes home, who she's spending time with, sudden changes in her routine like late nights, solo outings, or new hobbies. The fear of betrayal triggers deep insecurities in anyone. Men in particular tend to react impulsively, sometimes snooping, sometimes trying to rebuild the connection. Suspicion is human, but handling it with respect and clarity is the key to understanding the truth. Here's the reality. Cheating doesn't happen for just one reason. The three main motives, emotional neglect, revenge, and the search for excitement, are often symptoms of deeper issues. Whether it's a feeling of invisibility, unresolved pain, or the monotony of routine, infidelity is rarely just about falling out of love. But this doesn't mean cheating is excusable. Understanding the reasons behind it helps us see the warning signs, reflect on the relationship, and make better decisions moving forward. Whether that means fixing what's broken or choosing to walk away. If you've recognized any of these patterns in your own relationship, remember this: you have the power to decide what happens next. The first step is awareness. The second is action. Relationships require attention, honesty, and connection. You deserve a love that makes you feel seen, valued, and alive. If this video resonated with you, let me know. Do you think emotional neglect, revenge, or routine really drive women to cheat? Have you ever experienced or witnessed something similar? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective could help someone else. And don't forget, like the video if you found it insightful. Subscribe to the channel for more content on relationships and emotional insights. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video. See you.